Hello friends, how are we doing? When you're seeing this, it's gonna be March, which feels like an unbelievable frame of reference in which time has passed for me personally. Anyways, hi, how you doing? Happy March. Today we are going to be resetting for March. It's currently February 26th. It is Monday at the moment, and I just have a lot of things going on. I feel like we always have a lot of things going on, but I just feel like even if I just wrap up a couple of items, it's gonna make me feel a lot better in terms of organizing my TBR, organizing my life. Honestly, I need to fix my book journal situation. First and foremost, the thing that I am most excited about March for is that I have officially, which sounds like a big deal for me because I've never done an official readathon, I've joined REALMATHON and I'm so stinking excited. I'll link Cassidy's channel down below. You can go to her for more information, but I'm so excited. I did pledge to Team Time. I felt like I was struggling to choose between Team Shadows and Team Time, but because both of those descriptions, just like, I like them a lot. Also, I'm obsessed with Tori Between Pages, so she is one of the hosts for Team Time. I really like the bookmark for Team Time. I've got some white book covers that I really need to get through, so I pledged Team Time. And I'm very excited to join. I've never done one before and I just feel like it's gonna be fun, and I feel like it's gonna give me some, I don't know, something to just have fun with, right? So I don't necessarily have an official TBR, but I did go through, one of my bookshelves in the living room is in rainbow order, so I did go through, scan through all of the white books on my physical TBR, and yeah, I have had a tragedy occur with my bullet journal in which I spilled coffee all over my bullet journal. So I had to completely redo my bullet journal. So it's fine. I'm choosing to look at it on the bright side because I did get a Lloydstrom. Hold on. This looks completely fine from the outside. So Lloydstrom's, the covers are great. However, the inside is completely smudged and ruined and sad. I really enjoy the color of this one. This just felt like what I wanted to do this year. And I saw it at Barnes & Noble, so I got it. However, the pages on these regular Lloydstroms are so thin, which I didn't really realize. I kind of very roughly sketched out in pencil on one page. It showed a rough pencil sketch through the page. What I did was I taped every back page together, so I basically double bound these pages because, especially with like this page, there was a lot of color going on that was definitely bleeding through, and it even still so kind of, you can't really actually, never mind. There was a lot of color bleed that was happening, so I just decided to tape all of these pages together, which meant that I was gonna have a really short bullet journal, and I was fine with it. But now that I've spilled coffee and ruined half of the pages, I'm choosing to look at the bright side in that Lloydstrom actually makes a superior paper with a 120 gram page journal. For some reason, this was the only color in the thicker paper that my Barnes & Noble had, and it just so happened to be the color that I had already wanted to do. So I just felt like that was a sign. So I need to completely reset this up, which is great because I did set up my previous journal and it took me forever, and now I have to do it again. So in the meantime, I did just take some quick notes on my GoodNotes app. Basically, all I did was I went through my physical TBR, as well as Tori in the Discord posted 2 graphics with different books that had white on the covers that would work for this challenge. And so I took some of those, I wrote down some of the ones that I was really interested in, and then I also went ahead and put the prompts in here. Not every book you read has to be a white book, but then every book, if it's not white, if it fits in one of these prompts, you're good and you're getting points. There are rules that I need to go research, but that's kind of the basic gist. However, I wrote down all of the white books on my physical TBR that I definitely want to get to, and that is going to be my starting point. And then as I go throughout the month, I'll have space to mood read other books, and then I'll just make sure, like, see if I can squeeze it into any of the prompts. So then I'm still able to mood read, but I'm also have a list at least of a generic, these are my options, because I feel like I just want to mood read. I'm oddly in a romance mood at the moment, and I'm not really sure I know exactly where it's coming from. So a couple of the white books on my TBR that I'm very, back to the program, I'm so uncalibrated right now. So a couple of the white covered books with objects on the cover, if you will, that are on my physical TBR that I put down on the list. First of all, we're gonna start with The Gathering of Shadows. This is probably the one that I'm least certain about, given that I felt kind of mid about A Darker Shade of Magic, but I did listen to the audiobook and I felt like it was like Christmas time and I was running around doing stuff and I wasn't paying like the full amount of attention that I might have. So I just, like, I didn't really feel invested in it necessarily. So I do currently have this series, but I don't necessarily want to DNF it because I've heard so many good things about it. We may or may not read this. The next two things I'm very excited about, and I've had them for a while, and I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to work them in because I do have the UK covers, which have the white covers, which is perfect. I also have been kind of thinking about doing like reading Brandon Sanderson for a week vlog, but I also feel like a week is not near enough time to read how chunky A, these books are, B, to read potentially 3 of them. Maybe I just read these 2 in a reading vlog, I don't know, but I'm also still in the middle of The Well of Ascension, so at some point I may or may not finish that audiobook. Regardless, these 2 I'm very excited for. Elantris, I read the first chapter standing in a Barnes & Noble a while ago, and I was very interested. I've heard that this is his weakest novel, given that it is his first novel, so I'm still really interested in it. I know that the graphic audio does exist, and I'm kind of curious about that. However, Warbreaker, I have such high hopes about this one. I feel like I'm gonna like this a lot, and I want to get to it, and I feel like this is the perfect time. So I have both of these on the TBR for March. I'm so excited for Nevernight. I feel like I am going to read this. I hope I'm gonna read it. I feel like I'm gonna love this. I am so obsessed with Throne of Glass and Selena Sardathian as a character. The idea of a female assassin and just the idea of an assassin anyways, it's just really interesting to me, and I've heard obviously nothing but good things about this. It's J. Kristoff. We all know and love J. Kristoff. I've not read a J. Kristoff just yet. However, this could be the first one. So Nevernight is also on the list. So a couple other things I do just want to briefly mention that I would like to work into a prompt somehow, because they are at the top of my mental TBR that I really want to get to. If I don't think I'm gonna read it the next week before March, so it's gonna have to be in the March TBR. First of all, Done and Dusted. I love cowboy romance, and I want to be back in that moment. So Done and Dusted, also Swift and Saddled is coming out soon, and I don't even know if I actually like this book yet, but I'm still excited for Swift and Saddled. So all that to say, I'm so excited for Done and Dusted, and I feel like now's the time. Secondly, Butcher and Blackbird. I also started the audiobook for this, and I just felt like I'm not a big romance audiobook fan. I feel like this book kind of solidified that for me, and not because I was obsessed with the narrators. I feel like a reread of this might be really cool. However, I just have I don't know, I'm just not emotionally invested the same way, and also just listening to the things that'll happen. I don't know that listening is my journey. So Butcher and Blackbird, I think I got 6 chapters into it, but again, I really like the beginning of it, and I want to know the ending. Okay, actually 2 more, just kidding. 3 more. 4 more, if you count The Well of Ascension. I'm halfway through that, and I really need to get back to it, but I'm not in a high fantasy mood right now. I just want to read romance. So I might honestly DNF it for now and then come back, which I know is going to hurt certain people's feelings. I don't know. Maybe we'll come back. Anyways, as I gesture and talk about The Right Move by Liz Tomford, the reason that I'm so not having the time, I think, with just the idea of high fantasy right now, is because I can only think about reading this book. I want to read it so bad. I want so desperately just a romance that's a little bit longer in a world that I kind of already know because I have read the first book. And then the idea of getting to caught up and a single dad romance just really appeals to me. So The Right Move by Liz Tomford. Okay, and then the last 2, Gothicana by Runix. I've heard so many good things about this book for forever. However, I think that being that this is one of the books that a bunch of the Nashville besties bought together, we're probably gonna buddy read this hopefully sometime soon. If we don't buddy read this in March, I'll probably wait, but this may or may not happen. I'm very excited. The traditionally published first print run, I'm assuming the first print run is what has the sprayed edges, but all of the art in here, it's stunning, it's beautiful, and I just want it. And then the actual last but not least, and something that I'm arguably the most excited for other than The Right Move, Dawn of Onyx. I've had this on my TBR since before it was traditionally published, and it was on KU, and I just kept putting it off because I'll always have KU. But that doesn't work if it's then traditionally published and it's no longer on KU. So I am so stinking excited about this. I've heard nothing but good things. I've heard that it is a slow burn. I did get the Kindle copy of this. It was on sale the other day for $1.99, which basically feels like free 99 to me. So it happened. I'm very excited. I cannot wait. This was my blind date with the book that I got a couple weeks ago, and I am having a goal of reading the newer things that I buy at least really close to when I buy them, because I feel like the second that they sit on my TBR, that's when they go to die, and then I just never read them. So I'm excited about Donobomics, thoroughly excited. That is everything that's in my current mental TBR. I'm not making this an official list whatsoever, and I feel like that's never what a TBR is. However, oh, I didn't even cover the KU things that I would like to read that's part of like the white cover business. I made coffee this morning and it got way cold way fast, and I am completely uncaffeinated. However, I went to sleep at like 11 o'clock last night and woke up at like 8:30. So this is what rest does to a person. It's kind of weird. I don't know how to channel that energy into anything other than just talking really fast, apparently. So, oh, this was in the pile on my actual TBR bookshelf rather than my bookshelf in the living room. Addicted to You. I'm in my romance era. I've had this book again for a really long time. I got it at Barnes & Noble with the buy one get one 50% off, and I still have the sticker on it. I want to know what the people are talking about. This is on Kindle Unlimited. I'm in my Kindle era. It just fits. I should read it now while I have the interest boxes checked in my brain. So, throw that in the pile. Okay, a couple KU things. Something that I do actually own on my Kindle, City of Gods and Monsters. I am a sucker for 99-cent books whenever they're on sale, and if I've seen one person say one good thing about it, I'll spend $1, right? So City of Gods and Monsters. I have also heard very mixed things about this. I've heard it's really good if you like Crescent City and you like the Zootopia. All of the creatures are there and like urban fantasy and people, this book. But then I've also heard from several people that they absolutely hated it. So I might try it, I might DNF it really quickly, but it's kind of in the mental list. Then Feather by Olivia Wildenstein. I love paranormal romance, okay? I love Twilight. I love the books. I think that the Twilight culture honestly is so funny to me because it's just unhinged and I love it. But I love the paranormal romance side of that. And then I also just read Bride, wherever the heck it is. You can see it down here. Obsessed. And I just want to read more paranormal romance. I also really like Angel Fall, which I read about this time, honestly, last year, and I loved it. I didn't read it originally when it was popular, but I did read it last year as like a comfort read situation, and I was deeply comforted. So I'm very curious about an angel paranormal situation. Also the fact that she's the guardian angel and he's the bad guy or whatever, like it's a weird, it's usually the guy that's the hot angel or whatever, and then the puny, teeny, girlish human. So I'm very excited to see. Hopefully that'll make that better. North Queen, I've been seeing a lot about this KU fan row. I'm interested. War Hour, I saw one of her reels like a month or two ago, and I was so interested in this book, and it does qualify for the REALMATHON. And then Rock, Paper, Scissors, I've had it for a while, ever since last like winter, whenever Sarah Curley first read it, and I was like, oh, that sounds interesting, and it was on the Barnes & Noble buy one get one 50% off shelf. I don't know, I might mess around and read that. I am going to let you in on a little secret that I don't feel like is very secret. I just don't ever post about it because it's such a mess right now. I do have a TBR cart and it's filled with so much random stuff right now that I need to fix it. Last year, I put all of my 2024 books in 2024 on it, and I just kind of like picked those off as the year went. And I felt like that was a good system for me because I felt like all of those books were in an actual place that I had to look at every day. But now, that was before I got this bookshelf over here that I only put my TBR books on. Like, every book on here has not been read. That's also a mess that needs to be organized. I digress. Once 2024 rolled around, I never really reorganized the book cart. And I feel like now that I've got all of these things, they need to go on the book cart. So we're going to clear off the cart. We'll give it a go. Hi, buddy. Low key, I might actually be able to fit all of this on one shelf. The other thing that I don't really like about TBR carts is that things tend to sit on my TBR for longer than they should. So then I feel like because this isn't really like a flat surface, the books don't sit flat, and I don't feel like that's great for the structural integrity of books. So maybe that's just why I need to actually read the books on my TBR, not let them sit here forever if this is how I do my TBR. Would make sense, right? Sense has never been a thing that I've made. That is the TBR cart for now. Could it be better organized? Yes. Could I actually organize the top of this? Yes. Am I gonna do that? No. Right now, no. Yeah, honestly, I feel like this could be a lot more aesthetic but it's just not going to be at the moment. And I think that is okay. Not every little thing that you do needs to be aesthetic. Sometimes things just need to be functional. And if it's less than functional to spend time trying to get it to be perfect, then that doesn't make it functional. So this is just kind of the dumping grounds at the moment, and that is what it is. I do like being able to see all these books right here visually, and then I have my iPad visual list, and then they're all here. Cool. You're the nosiest little girly that's ever existed. I'll link this diamond painting kit that I got down below. These suckers are so fun. Would fully recommend. In my head, it's a reading hobby, so it belongs with the reading things. Also, I don't really have any other place for it, and I only really need the one shelf. So if you're someone who's looking for an idea of like what to put in a TBR cart, because you want a cart but you don't really have like a giant TBR, you only really need one shelf to be books, technically, and not even really. You can do one shelf being like your annotation stuff that, you know, mine's not really in here at the moment. And in theory is here, parts of it are here. And then you can do a shelf with, what do you do when you listen to audiobooks? Do you do like a puzzle? Do you crochet? Do you sit and stare into the void? That doesn't really work in this case, but like maybe you do some diamond painting, and that does. You can put that on the bottom shelf, and then the actual books. Just saying. Apparently I gotta go and, you know, cuddle, and I'm not really bad about that at all. So that is everything that's on my TBR at the moment for March. I've got a lot of things going on, clearly. I think the big thing about March's TBR for me is that it's just gonna be like an inspiration list. There is not like 8 that I will actually read in March kind of thing. This is just like, these are the 2017 million books that I am interested in. And I think that is going to be a very good strategy to work for my brain, because then when I'm like, I don't know what to read, I can then look at that list, as opposed to being like, okay, did I read that book and can I check that off the list kind of thing, you know? I don't know. I also just feel like the more that you read from a physical TBR, the more that you can train your brain to make that actually work for you, and the more like practice, you know, like practice makes perfect kind of thing, because right now I cannot do a physical TBR to save my life. So I feel like the more that I actually practice doing that, I would get better. However, I don't wanna. That is everything that's on my March TBR. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Feel free to stick around, and I hope you have a great rest of your day or night wherever you are. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.